There was a time where I almost died in mud.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Welcome to Leather Jacket Storytime. I'm Jason.
And I'm Sarah.
Good to be with you guys. So this is a kind of a new thing that we're doing. It's a brand new YouTube channel. Leather Jacket Storytime, 5 days a week. We're not going to get into all the information here. You can find that on our channel. We'll have it all typed up and ready for you guys to go. But just know that on Mondays, we'll be bringing to you guys stories. Stories from our past that we think you guys will find very, very humorous. And it'll give you guys a chance to laugh at us and comment accordingly. Right?
Sounds good.
So this first one, I wanted to kind of kick off the YouTube channel with one of my favorite stories from my youth. And Sarah's never heard this story either.
It's new
so
to me.
she's going to be reacting accordingly to this.
Okay.
I've had this longtime friend named Giancarlo.
Mm-hmm.
I've mentioned Giancarlo to you multiple times.
Yeah.
We've been friends since, I think, the second grade. Anyway, we were in grade school together, and one of the things that we used to do on the weekends a lot was go frog hunting. You know, not actually hunting frogs with the spear,
But
not killing
like
them.
a river.
I don't want PETA getting on me. We're not hunting frogs. We're catching frogs. Okay, but that's one of the things that all kids like to do that when they're growing up. I'm sure you've caught. Did you do that growing up?
It's what it's called down south.
Frog gigging.
Frog gigging.
We're going to do an episode on northern words versus southern words in the future. We will. But anyway, okay. So we go frog catching, okay? And one of our favorite places to go was the High Crest Swamp. High Crest was our elementary school, and they had a swamp kind of, in the woods to the side. So one day we go frogging. Do you guys call it frogging down here?
Yeah.
Frogging. We go frogging. And we're walking around the outside of the swamp and stuff, and we're doing like we always do. We're looking for frogs, and we got our nets and our bucket and everything like that. Mm-hmm. And at one point, Giancarlo sees a frog. Now, one thing about Giancarlo is that when he sees something like a frog, he gets very determined, and there's no talking him out of getting it. So this frog happened to be right in the center of the swamp.
So he's pinpointed.
It's right in the center of the swamp, and he's eyeing it, like him and the frog are having a moment that they're looking at each other.
Yeah.
The problem is it's in the middle of the swamp, and I'll throw this out there. When I say swamp, I don't mean there's actually water. It's like a dried up swamp, but it's mucky. That's what I mean by swamp. It's all muck and stuff like that. So anyway, he sees this frog. He's like, I gotta get it. And conveniently, there's a fallen tree that goes all the way across the swamp. Okay. So he decides to grab his net. He starts walking out across the swamp on this fallen tree to try to go over to the frog and catch it. Mm-hmm. And me, I didn't, talk him out of it, because even if something funny happened, still, something funny happens.
You're
even
best friends. You're gonna egg
right.
each other on.
Well, I think that's part of a good friendship is that you kind of push each other to go outside the box a little bit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. To
think outside the box and do things out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
Anyway, he starts walking across this fallen down tree with his bucket and his net. He gets up to the frog. I can't remember if he actually tried to swipe at it or not, but long story short, he loses his footing and he falls in the muck. That's what it is. It's muck. Mm-hmm. And he falls in, and at first it's no big deal. At first, he's up to his shins in the mud, and it's something that at that point he could kind of walk out of no problem. Uh-huh. I see him, and I see him struggling, and at first I laugh a little bit because, again, we're best friends, and I have to laugh a little bit. I can't just be like, oh my God, I gotta laugh a little bit, and then you go in and help.
Exactly.
That's how it works.
That is exactly how it works.
So I laughed. I laughed a little bit, and then I said, okay, I really gotta help him, because he was struggling. So the way the swamp was is on the outer edge of it, it was covered in leaves. Mm-hmm. So you didn't really know what was solid ground and what wasn't solid ground.
You didn't know what you were about to step into.
I didn't think this through. And I walked forward, and I sunk right into the mud. So now we're at a point where trying to be the good friend who tried to save him, I'm up to about my knees in muck. Giancarlo's up to his knees in muck. Still, I know you guys probably think, oh, well, big deal, you're up to your knees in mud. We were there in that mud for probably over a half hour.
Really?
We were struggling to get out. Well, one of the things is, too, we had on these tall yellow boots.
Yeah.
These, like, rain boots.
Yeah.
And we were just in that mud, and we couldn't get out. And what's worse is that over time, as the minutes passed, we were struggling and struggling and struggling. I mean, this muck was sucking us down.
Like quicksand.
Like quicksand. It was sucking us down. And we got to a point. Now, remember, we were shorter at the time
Of course.
than we are now. But we got to a point where we were up to our chests in mud.
Really?
We were up to our chests in mud. And we were squirming and trying to get out. And we were yelling for help. Because the funny thing, too, is that there were some other people up on the playscape, kind of like off to the side. We were yelling for help to them. No one came. I was convinced that we were going to be sucked up by that mud, that we were going to go under and just never be seen again.
Yeah. An irrational fear.
I was what? An irrational fear? I think that's a rational fear.
It is very rational, but at the moment, like, no.
No?
Irrational.
I was scared.
Yeah.
I was very, very scared.
Yeah.
Because we had been in there, again, for about a half hour, and I didn't know what we were going to do. I didn't know. So, anyway.
It sucks.
Let me get to the point here. So, we're sinking, and we feel, our boots filling up with all this muck and the twigs and everything like that.
And squirming around doesn't help. That just makes you sink faster.
Right, exactly. And it's not like something that you can swim through.
Yeah.
If you've ever been sucked down in mud, it's not like you can just, like do the front crawl out of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we come to the conclusion that it's either our lives or our boots. Because we figured that if we were able to get out of our boots that were being weighted down with all the water and muck, then we'd be able to, crawl or like somehow climb out. So we made the ultimate sacrifice. Yeah. We took our feet out of the yellow boots, and we managed to somehow get out of the swamp. We lived. We go back to his house, and I remember his mom was like freaking out, and she washed us down with the hose and everything like that. It was actually, it's funny looking back at it now, but at the time we were pretty scared. Now, I will say, this happened over 10 years ago. Those yellow boots, they've got to still be in there.
They probably are.
You think so?
Probably so.
I mean, they're probably deeper than we were at the time.
Yeah.
But they've got to still be underground.
Probably so.
We went this past summer to Hiker Swamp with 2 shovels. We tried to dig them up.
Did y'all find them?
No.
Of course not.
That would have been cool, though, right?
That would have been really cool.
That would have been the perfect way to end this episode. Yeah, we found them 10 years later, our boots, and we kept them, and that's it. But we didn't find them, unfortunately. But that was I thought, an interesting story. What are your thoughts? Do you think I'm like crazy?
No.
Do you think I'm stupid for going in after him?
No.
No?
No.
Would you have done the same thing?
I would have honestly.
I feel like you would have handled the situation differently.
You feel like I would have handled it differently?
Would you have handled the situation differently? You probably would have thought things through a little bit more.
Maybe. Well, I mean, also 10 years ago, I was probably thinking the same way you were.
Just go in and help him?
Yeah. But honestly, once I realized that I was sinking, I would have been like, whoa.
Even before that, though, the smart thing to do would have been to go out on the tree myself and try to pull him up back onto the tree.
Yeah, why didn't you do that?
I don't know. I wasn't thinking. What's the moral of the story? Every good story has a lesson to be learned.
Oh, Lord, you're asking me?
I'm asking you, Sarah. Is there any... First of all, it's don't get stuck in mud. I think that's the obvious one. But I think even beyond that, assess the situation.
Yeah, think things through first before you try to go help your best friend.
Or else you might almost die in mud.
Yeah, and that wouldn't be good.
Yeah, that wouldn't be good. So that was the time I almost died in mud.
Pretty interesting.
Yeah. Hey guys, thank you very much for liking, commenting, and subscribing. We do episodes 5 nights a week. Leather Jacket Storytime. Please share us with your friends. We'll get social media pages out and running very, very shortly. Thanks very much, guys. We'll see you tomorrow.